down. There, now you can read it properly. So each week, each of the 4 weeks, you will get something along the lines of this, which is 2 rows of squares. And just see, no, it doesn't. 2 rows of squares, and it tells you the order which you sew your squares together in. Each row, you will need to make 2 rows. So this is 1 row tonight. This is another row, and you're going to make 4 in total, 2 of this row and 2 of that row. And we've got a little coding at the bottom where the squares with a B in are your border fabrics. Now, as I said to you, the border you can choose as a completely different fabric, which is not going to go the whole way around the edge, but it is going to frame what we make. So think about that one. I only just chose my border fabric this evening, about half an hour ago. So I thought we need them tonight. And if you also want, you could use the same. This next one here is your background. So a blank square is background. And what I decided to do, I remember from last time, I've learned lessons, you see. This is what you always hear. We have learned lessons. Well, I have. And in the last mystery quilt we did, I used some pale colours in the PDF. And sometimes people couldn't see whether it was a plain one, a background, or whether it was a colour. So I've used all dark colours so that you can see very well, hopefully, that... Oh, Nikki's asking for figs and shirt. I haven't got any figs and shirtings at all. I sold it all in the last sale, didn't I? So, yeah, sorry, I haven't got any of that. Just happened I got a little pack of Frenchies. So, let's see. Yes, that's all right. Oh, Jack found some last weekend. And Gita's got a set of them somewhere as well. I'm sure you all have got some because you're thinking, what am I going to do with them? So, as I say, the square with the B in is your background fabric. And I will show you, this is going to be my background fabric. So, these are my background. This one here. This is going to be my border. So in small areas around the edge, I'm going to have some of this. So it will frame it. Have a think about the contrast between your background fabric and your border. If you wanted to stand out, I think this will border it, and it will just about make it, because of this metallic foiling there, I think it's going to show up. If you're using a lighter background fabric, which is in the majority of the quilt, you may think about using a bold. You might use black, might use navy blue, a complete contrast so that it does show up as a border even more. But I couldn't really think until I saw a little bit of this I'd got left, and I thought I'm going to use that. So, as I showed you, background, and this was my border fabric. And then I have got a pile of, these are my 2 colour half square triangles. And these are my single colour and background half square triangles, as you can see there. So I have now, this is where I'm going to take these out. I have made myself some like this. And I love this fabric here. But having made them, I thought to myself, do you know, when it may go against, I might use them, I might not. But when it goes against any of my background plain squares, it's not going to show up as well as I wanted it to. So just think about that. Whatever your background is, if you've got a light, even a white or an ivory background fabric, I wouldn't use any very pale. Let's just pop that back. Any pale. So looking at what I have here, I wouldn't use, if I was having, I've been cutting a little bit of Adita Sitar up as well. I wouldn't use, if I'm using an ivory background, I wouldn't use one like this because I think it will blend too much into it. And what we want to have is the distinct shaping that is going to appear in this mystery quilt. So just have a think about your fabrics for the contrast. Oh, there's Vanessa. Hello, Vanessa. Hope you're okay. Right. So, as we say, this little square here with one colour and a plain is your background plus colour. So with this one, you're going to put two squares together, and one is the colour and one is the background fabric. Whereas these ones here, where you've got two colour triangles, like these ones here, are two colours. So when you make up your half square triangles, you'll put two coloured ones together. So I've got all sorts of different ones. So that is a two colour half square triangle. Okay, so you're okay with that. So shall we begin? Right, so I'm going to put this, oops, let's move that there. I'm going to put this where I can see it. And I've got my piles, my stacks, which I'm going to put alongside me to my left so that I have, there we go, pop that just there. And I've got a few of my double ones here. So the first one this week is going to be a border one. So let me get me a border. So there is my border one. The next one is going to be a background. So I'm going to put those two together, and all I'm going to do, I'm going to make a row at a time. So I'm going to line that up, right sides together, and stitch with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'm going to have my stitch length at 1.8 or 2, like when we are doing our patchwork. So once I have, I'm not pressing as I go, that will be all at the end, but I am going to just finger press along there. So the next one I have is and let me show you, let me just show you here. So the next one I'm going to have here is a background plus a colour. So here is a background and a colour, but I must make sure, can you see how the seam line goes here? So I've got my background underneath and my colour at the top. So it's here, this one here, number 3. So I must make sure that goes like that. So always look and double check with your row that is set out here that your colours are going the right way. While we're here, I'll put the next one. So I need another one which is a background and colour. So we will have, let's have this one, okay. But this time, let's just move that across a little bit. My, where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4. My colour is down, whoops, at the bottom. So it is, when I say the bottom, it is like that. So number 4 here is the colour is here at the bottom and the background is this piece here. So we can put that together like so. Right, so I'll just set this to the side, whoops, for the moment. And I'm going to put this one right sides together and we'll stitch down here. Right, and I'll keep that one in the correct position. And we've decided to unthread, which is lovely. Always like it when the needle unthreads. Okay, not really. So I've lined that up at the right-hand side. And then I'm going to open that up. And as you can see, we have our seam allowance in that little bit just there. And then I'm going to put this one together, double check that it's the right way, right sides together. And we've actually, on this occasion, in this scrappy quilt, we have 16 in the row. So here is our first row that we're doing, but it's not necessarily going to be the top row. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Oh no, I'm looking at the wrong row here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I want a plain. So I want a plain one next. And then I want another. Right, let's have a go here. Pop that one there. I want another half square triangle, and my colour is going down the bottom there. So again, let's pop our squares right sides together. And I'll keep that one there, but I'm going to make sure I don't turn it around. It's probably a good idea to use a thread that goes with, not contrasts, with your fabrics that you're using. So this would be better if I was using a light background, but we're going to be fine. And the reason we're going to be fine is because I'm using that short stitch length. So when I pull the fabric, you can hardly see that there are any stitches along there. Okay, so that is there. That is there. Where have we got to now? So I've lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I want another one that actually goes. So I want another. Let's have this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one is going to go like so. So what we've got is the plain and 2 of these. This one is down at this end and this one is at the top. So this is number 7. Okay. So we'll stitch down there and fold that back. So we've gone from 1, 1, 2. Now I want 2 of my double colour. So let's have a look. Right, there's one that is double colour, and here is 2 that are double colours. Okay, so the 2 double colours, one seam needs to go that way, and the other seam needs to go that way. There we go. So we've got our seams going in 2 different directions there. Okay, they're both 2 colour ones, but one seam goes that way and one seam goes that way. So let's move that over there while I stitch this one together. So right sides together. Now, if you've trimmed your squares, your half square triangle squares, using our easy half square triangle ruler, you will know that everything just fits together perfectly. And it is lovely that it does. So the only difference really between this one and the previous mystery quilt is the fact that we had all squares last time, and it was just a case of whether it was a colour or a 9 patch or a plain square, and we didn't have to think about direction. But this one, because of our half square triangles, must make sure our seams, our diagonal seams, are going in the right direction. So I've got that one and that one. I now need 2. The next 2 will be this one will do nicely. That one, and let's have a light one. So we'll have this one and this one. So next to our two square, I am going to have now I'm going to put this one up here. This one is going to go that way, and the one next to it is going to have the background at the top. Now, can you see how our backgrounds are making lines? Now, that will have something to do with how it's going to make something, but you don't know what it is just yet. So let's just stitch down this seam first. And open that up. And pop our next one to it. Like so. And we can stitch down here. Okay. So So we have got those two like that. The next one we're going to have is a background. There's our background. And the next one we're going to have is a, let's have a look, we might have that one, is a background and a colour. So the next one, the background is going here and the non-background is, or the colour is going up here. I'll leave it till then, so we'll just do those two. So first of all, after these two, we've got a plain background. So let's put this here. I'm really quite excited about coming up to week 6 when we're going to put it all together, because it will, yes, I'm thinking it's going to look fine already. So just lay your, what you could do at home, if you're stitching on a table, lay all of the blocks out and just check them so that you can see that they are all in the right orientation. So we'd had plain, we had one going that way. I need another one now. Let's have a light blue one here. So this time my colour is going here. And then the next one is going to be a background followed by a border. So I'm going to put this one right sides together and stitch down here. Okay, and then I'm going to put the background one on too, followed by a border. Now, the other thing I was going to mention, because having made the bulk of my half square triangles, whichever ones they were, I was using for this sizing 8-inch squares so that I could make 8 at a time. Now, what I then got to thinking was, if I use 8 at a time, this is my border one. If I use 8 at a time, make 8 at a time, I'm going to have the same, exactly the same, 8 times. And it might be too many of the same one. So I have interspersed, which is why I found my fringes, individual 4-inch squares, and I have been making some 2 at a time, so that I only have 2 that are exactly the same rather than 8. I'll show you what I mean here. Not that one in particular, but I have 8 that are like that. And it may be, I love that fabric, but it just means I've got 8 exactly the same. So you might find, I could have showed you how to do 4 at a time, but with 4 at a time, what you end up with is stretchy edges. And I did think it was better to do either the 2 or the 8. So let me just show you this one now. So if I just pass that under, that is going to, oh, it's very long. Okay. So border at the edge. We've got some nice pointy bits. And we've got some nice stripy bits. Okay, so I have got to make 2 of those. And when I mean 2, I don't mean 2 identical. I mean 2 in where the placement of the blocks are and the orientation of our half square triangle seams. But we can use different colours at each one. And the more colours, the better. So there is our first row. I'll set that aside for pressing. But as I say, I'm only going to press that right at the very end because I want to have a little bit of ability to be able to press my seams in alternate directions as I have my rows. So row 2. Row 2 also starts, and more often than not, if it starts with a border one, it's going to end with a border one. So it starts with a border and a background. So right sides together, like so, and stitch down. It's not difficult, is it? It's just following a chart and stitching them together in that order. So there we have border followed by background. Now this time we have got, the first one is a colour and background. And I'm going to, yeah, shall I put 2? That's right. Colour and background. And the next one is actually going to be a 2-colour one. So I'm not bothering which colours, I'm just picking the next one up. But the only thing, the seam needs to go the same way as this previous one did. So we'll do those two together as well. So just the same, right sides together, line those edges up. And I don't really think there's any need for pinning. Ooh, don't want that little bit there. So if you can get away without using pins, all well and good. Okay, so we were just looking at the seam direction there, making sure that was going in the same direction. Okay, so I shall have to look at my chart again. So I've got this one and this one. So I want 2 more that are 2 colours. So let me have a look. That's a 2-colour one. Oh no, I've got some here, haven't I? So there's a 2-colour, and I want my seams. That seam goes that way. This one goes this way. This one goes this way. And I want 1, 2. Oh, actually, yeah. So I've got that one, and I just want 1, 2, 3. So I've got 1, 2, and the seam is going to go in the same direction. Let's see. Oh, let's use that one. So there's my seam, and there's my seam. So 2 colours, 2 colours, 2 colours. Seam, seam, top left to bottom right. So we will stitch those together as well. It's sometimes a little bit easier to look at the diagram and put 2 down at the same time so that you can double check and watch for those particular elements where you need to just check seam, 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 always right sides together, and always line up those edges. Okay. And the other thing you'll probably notice is that it is a little bit symmetrical. So whatever you've done from the left to where we are now, it will go back the other way. So we have got that one in the middle. We now need a plain one here. I'm going to put 2 down now because the next 2 are a single colour and a background. So let's have single colour and background. Have I got, you see, I've only got 3. We might have, let's have that one. I'm going to have to make a few more, I think. Single colour and my background are these 2. But this time I want my seam. The first one is going to go in the same direction as that one. So, which is, no, that's wrong. There. But I need my colour at the top. And then the next one is going to go, the direction's going the opposite way. So there's my seam, but I'm creating an arrowhead there. So let's just put those across there while I just stitch. And this is one of the times when it is easier to put, rather than 2, to put 3 down so that you can see exactly where you are along the row. Okay, so press that, and finger press that, pull the next one across. And if you've got all your row laid out, you'll just be able to pick one up after the other and stitch it together. I think sometimes it's a nice idea to have a table at the side of you and, whoops, there's that one there, and be able to just pick it up and you'll be able to see that it's working in exactly the right way. Okay, so I'm only doing my second rows of the same ones. I should do later, but I'm just showing the 2 rows at the minute. So I've got my arrowhead there. So the next block I'm going to use is a background colour. So there is my background. And then I'm going to have actually 3 double colour ones. So we'll do those in a moment. Let's have 1 double colour one first. Let's have this one. And the seams this time are going in the opposite direction. So there is my first of a 2 colour. That's my figs and shirtings. So let's just line that up and stitch down here. And open up, nail press. Next one, right side down. Now you can see here, I chopped a little bit too much, but it doesn't matter because it's going in the seam allowance. So there is so that is my number 1 of the 2 colours. So that's one of them. Let's have 2 and 3. So this time my seam allowance goes this way, and I want these to go that way as well. So that one goes that way, and that one, oh, let's have it going like that. So the seam allowance, you could turn it round whichever way you like, but my seam allowance, as you can see, is going in those directions. So I'm going to move that over there. Whoops, no. And put that one right sides together. And that will give me my 3 2 colour half square triangles. Right, so there is number 1. And still looking at my seam lines going in the same direction. Okay, and there we go, straight down here. Right, so 1, 2, 3. So I've got my 1, 2, 3, 2 cut ones. The next one is a single colour with a background. Now, what haven't I used? Single colour with a background. Don't know whether I've used the pink, probably not. Let's use this one. So the single colour with background is also going to go in that direction. So my seam is going the same, parallel to that one, and I need my colour at the top and background at the bottom. So let's just do that one, and then we're just left with 2 to go. Okay. I should just check that I've got 16 on there, but I'm sure I have. So I've got my that, 1, 2, 3. There is my background of that. So all I need now is a background followed by a border. How about that? So move that over, pop our background fabric and stitch that down. I should perhaps, rather than have done 2 rows a week, I should have done alternate nights or on the same, or for a week, and we could have got it done in a week, couldn't we? But that's putting a little bit of pressure on, isn't it? There we are. So I've got my final bit. There is my border fabric, background colour, 2 colour, 2 colour. So let's have a look through this one. There we go. There's our arrowhead in the middle. Or are my arms long enough? Just. Okay. So there is my border. Whoops. I'm going to put just take it back the other way as well. But it's going to look pretty. All using scraps. Okay. So that is my number 2. So I am going to repeat one of each of these rows again so that I've got 4 rows in total. So it is going to grow pretty quickly. Oops. No, where have we gone? Go out of the way. There we are. Press that one. And we're back. Jolly good. So how is that? Let me just see if I can, whoops, not there. And you see when I do that, my comments go. There, we're back. There, we're back. Okay. Come on, comments. Oh, let's go out of it. It does this to me every time, doesn't it? There we are. Right. Should we number our rows again this time? Yes. Well thought, Nikki. Yes. If you put week 2. So the rows you've done, if you put week 2, row 1, and week 2, row 2, and then, yes, you will know exactly what they are. Because last time I didn't, did I? And I had to look at my chart to work out which row was which. So, yes, if you do that, that would be perfect. So, as you do your rows this week, put a piece of paper and pin it to the left-hand square. So the last block at the left, pin it there and put yourself week 2, row 1. So that will be the top row. And then the second one will be week 2, row 2. And you can pin both together because I will use those because, as I say, they are repeated. So put the 2 together so you know they are identical. Thank you for that, Nikki. I should have said it, but completely forgot. So hello, Tony. Don't worry. I shall upload this to YouTube, but it won't be for everybody to see. I shall put it back in the group so it's always there. Okay. Fab, we say. Needs a little bit of concentration, but you can sit there with your PDF printed out like I have, just sit there with this and put your half square triangle in front of it just to make sure it's the right way round, and you will be absolutely fine. Right. Yes. So I think, whoops, it's gone again. And we've got no comments coming up there. So, are we happy? Give me a like or a love if we are happy. And do we think we're going to get the rows done each week so that you're ready in, 5 weeks' time? Thumbs up? I think you will. Because those of you that had made your rows as we went along last time, we're putting pictures of your quilts up there within days, which was lovely. And it will be an eye-opener once you get all your rows done and we put them together. So that, as I say, is about 5 weeks away, and it is quite exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, there's 3 of you that are looking forward to it. I'm sure you all are. Thumbs up, big smiles. Oh, thank you, Carolyn. You need to get picking colours and cutting out. So, Beverly can't wait to see the end result. Oh, thank you. I've only just picked up bits and pieces, So some of you may have had that in a scrap box, but unfortunately it's not now. It's in my Scrappy quilt. So what you can do, I think what we're going to make would look lovely in batik fabrics. And as I said about doing the 8 half square triangles at a time, that you might feel that you've got too many of the same, but when you're using batiks, because of their nature and how they usually look completely different depending on where you're cutting them, I think it would still work really well. And I even think if you used one batik fabric, especially if it was a multicolored one, or one that drifted in and out of different colors, it flowed, so it was more like a marbled effect, I think you could get away with having, probably not your 2 color. Your 2 color ones it might do, but if you just use 2 batiks, and so you're putting the 2 different ones together for your 2 colored half square triangles, and you're putting your background fabric with one of the fabrics, I think that would still look good. I'm sort of picturing it so I know what it's going to be like. So yes, could look really, really good. Okay, we've done pretty well. So I will leave you with that. Thank you, Janet. Paula gives a thumbs up. You got excited after last week and all your squares ready to go. So fantastic. I'm glad. I've told you many times before, Virginia's just about to cut out, so it's better to know to do 2s, not 4s. Well, it was 2s or 8s. There is a method of doing 4 at a time. But as I say, when you do that, it's a nice method However, you have got all stretchy edges, and because the 2 at a time and the 8 at a time give you squared edges or edges that don't. I mean, I haven't got a 4 at a time one to show you, but you can see that's quite square, as is that one. They don't stretch. They're good. Whereas the 4 at a time method, they do. The edges are on a bias. So it is better to choose that. So the more scrappy you want it, I would probably go for doing 2 at a time. Now, I must admit, when I sat down and thought, I need some more 2 at a time ones, I sat down just before, it took from 5:30 till 6 o'clock, I managed to make 24. I got 12 pairs of squares, and I managed to stitch down both sides, well, draw my line, stitch down both sides, cut them up, trim them and press them, and it only took half an hour to make 24. So if you sit, you know what you're doing. If you sit there and just methodically do them, it doesn't take too long at all. So enjoy. Think about your background and the border fabric. I would have some sort of contrast. As I say, mine is not the biggest contrast, but I think because it's got that metal foiling, it is going to frame it as such. Well, I'm hoping so. So I'm going to leave that with you. We'll be back here doing the next 2 rows next Friday, and you may be able to lace them out and think, I wonder if that goes next to that. Oh, I wonder what that could be. I've mixed it up, but you never know. So thank you for joining me tonight. And I will see you next week, but have a great weekend in between then, and look forward to sewing with you next week. So bye for now.